In this lecture, we're going to talk some more about linear transformations and answer some existence and uniqueness questions. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk generally about functions. So when we have a function, we have a domain and a codomain. And the notation we use here is the name of the function is, in this case, f. The domain, we write that as the first set, and then we write an arrow, and then we write the codomain second. In our context, we're going to be talking about linear transformations, and so the domain is going to be Rn, and the codomain is going to be Rm for some positive integers n and m. But generally, to talk about properties of functions, we can think of them as two sets, and the function is the set of arrows between those two sets. And what makes it a function is that every element of the domain is assigned to a unique element in the codomain, and we indicate that with an arrow. And this unique idea just means that there's one arrow coming out of every point in the domain. It's possible to have multiple arrows pointing to points in the codomain. It's also possible to have points in the codomain that don't have any arrows pointing to them. But in the domain, every single point in the domain needs to have one and only one arrow coming out of it. That's what makes it a function. Now, some functions have an additional property, which is that they are onto, and another word that you'll see sometimes to describe this property is surjective. I'll be saying onto, but if you see that word surjective, that just means onto. And a function is onto if every element of the codomain is the image of at least one element in the domain. In other words, every element in the codomain has at least one arrow pointing to it. Not every function has that property, but some functions do, and when the function does have that property, we say that the function is onto. Another way to think about what onto means is to ask whether the equation f of u equals v has at least one solution for every v. Another property that some functions have is that the function might be one-to-one, or in other words, injective. And that's true if every element of the codomain is the image of at most one element in the domain. In other words, every element in the codomain has at most one arrow pointing to it. So either 1 or 0 arrows pointing to every element in the codomain. And so another way to think about what one-to-one means is to again look at the equation f of u equals v and ask whether that equation has either no solution or a unique solution. And again, we're seeing that word unique, and that just means one and only one. So let's use these words in context. So if we have a linear transformation, and now we know that every linear transformation is a matrix transformation. So suppose we have a linear transformation, and the standard matrix for that transformation is given here. Is this linear transformation onto? Well, what this is asking us is whether the equation t of x equals b, so does that equation have a solution for every possible b? Well, since t of x is really just a times x, if we call this matrix A, what we're really asking is, does ax equals b have a solution for every b? And we know how to answer that question. That question is based on where the pivots are. And since there's a pivot in every row, that's how we know that ax equals b will have a solution for every b. So the answer here is yes, because there's a pivot in every row of the matrix. Now we're asking, is this function one-to-one? So again, the question is asking, does t of x equals b have at most one solution for every b? And again, since t of x is just a times x, again, if we're calling this matrix A, we're asking, does the equation ax equals b have at most one solution for every b? And the answer here will be no, because, again, we look at the pivots, what we see is that there's a column without a pivot. Not every column has a pivot, and what that's going to mean is that we're going to have a free variable. And so when ax equals b does have a solution, we're going to have lots of solutions because we'll have a different solution for every value of that free variable that we can plug in. And so the answer here will be no. So as we see, we can answer these onto and one-to-one questions using our knowledge that we already have about the matrix equation AX equals B and when it has solutions and when it has a unique solution. And all of that is just based on where the pivots in the matrix are. So let's try to tie all this together and think about some theorems here. So if we have a linear transformation, then the theorem here tells us that this linear transformation is one-to-one if and only if the equation T of x equals 0 has only the trivial solution. We know that T of 0 equals 0 because that's a property of linear transformations, so the question here is whether T of x equals 0 has any other solutions. So this is an if and only if statement, which means we have two if-then statements to prove. We have to prove that if T is one-to-one, then the equation T of x equals 0 has only the trivial solution. And we'll have to prove that if the equation T of x equals 0 has only the trivial solution, then T is one-to-one. So we indicate that as we've done before with this little arrow. So that arrow pointing from left to right means that we're proving the first statement implies the second statement. So the first statement is if T is one-to-one, so we suppose that T is one-to-one. So that means that the equation T of x equals 0 has at most one solution. Because remember, one-to-one means that T of x equals B, for any B, has at most one solution. So we're applying that specifically to the 0 vector. Well, we already know one solution. We know that T of 0 equals 0. And so if T of x equals 0 has at most one solution, well, we've got it. Here's the solution. That's the only x that works. And that's exactly what the second half of the theorem says. Now, proving the other direction, we want to suppose that T of x equals 0 has only the trivial solution, and we want to prove that T is one-to-one. So now we're going to use a technique we're proving called proof by contradiction. We're going to assume the opposite of what we want. We want to know that T is one-to-one, so we're going to assume that T is not one-to-one. And what we're shooting for now is a contradiction, something that doesn't make any sense, and that would show us that this assumption that we're making is actually a wrong assumption. So what would it mean for T to not be one-to-one? Well, that would mean that in the codomain, there's some point that has two arrows pointing to it. In other words, some vector in Rm for which the equation T of x equals v has at least two solutions. All right, well, let's name those solutions. We know we have at least two solutions, so now we've come up with names for those two solutions. That lets us work with that idea. So let's say we have two solutions. That means that T of u1 is v, and T of u2 is also v. So we're going to use the linearity of t here. We're going to plug u1 minus u2 into the function t. The linearity tells me that that's t of u1 minus t of u2. But I know that those are both v. And that means I get v minus v, which is 0. So this is how we're using the fact that T of x equals 0 has only the trivial solution. Because we have found now that T of u1 minus u2 equals 0, which means we have found a solution to the equation T of x equals 0. So that means that that solution is really just the trivial solution. That thing in parentheses, u1 minus u2, is really just the 0 vector. So if u1 minus u2 equals 0, that means u1 equals u2. And that's a contradiction because we assumed that we had at least two solutions. And we gave names to those two solutions, but now we just figured out that, you know what, we didn't actually have two solutions. Those two solutions were the same. That doesn't make any sense. So that's the contradiction that shows us that the theorem is true. Another useful theorem here actually says two things, two if and only if statements. So again, we're starting with the same setup. We have a linear transformation, and we're giving the name capital A to the standard matrix for that linear transformation. And this really classifies when the linear transformation is onto and when it's one-to-one. The linear transformation is onto if and only if the columns of the matrix span Rm, and the linear transformation is one-to-one if and only if the columns of the matrix are linearly independent. So let's start by proving statement A. We know from a previous theorem that the columns of A span all of Rm if and only if the equation Ax equals b is consistent for all b. But Ax equals b, you remember that's the same as T of x equals b. So saying T of x equals b is consistent, T of x equals b has a solution for all b, that's exactly what it means for the function t to be onto. For statement B, the columns of A are linearly independent if and only if the equation Ax equals 0, which again is the same as the equation T of x equals 0, has only the trivial solution. Remember, AX is a linear combination of the columns of A, and so for that linear combination to be 0, that tells us that the columns of A are linearly independent. And that's equivalent to t being 1 to 1. So what we see here are that these questions about linear transformations, is the linear transformation onto, is the linear transformation 1 to 1, we can tie those questions back to the questions that we've already answered about the matrix equation AX equals B, and when it has a solution, when it has only one solution, and so on. And all of that boils back down to where are the pivots, do we have a free variable, is this equation consistent? All of this ties together way back to the stuff that we did right at the beginning of the course.